In this video, we're going to cover where to hire a construction superintendent. And when you're looking for them, here's one thing that you shouldn't count on. Two things you need to start doing that you probably aren't right now. And we're also going to cover the steps for developing those superintendents and how long it takes. So watch this video if you want to know where to find them. So let's get started. I'm going to blow your mind here a little bit. You did not expect this, but do not count on hiring from the industry. It's just not going to happen. Now, everybody out there that's already mad at me because I said that, I love you. I think you're great. You're probably at a good company with a good position. You're trusted and you're well cared for, okay? So you're probably not going anywhere, right? So I didn't say you weren't good, right? So there is such a shortage of good supers, right, trained supers, because of the state of our industry, that any of the good ones, and I'm assuming you are one of them, are already taken, right? You're married to a company, right? So you're not going to, as a company, be able to go out and just find a super that has all of the traits that you're looking for. You're not going to be able to go out and find one with all the training. You're not going to be able to go out and just plug and play superintendents into these positions. I don't see it anywhere. And I'm not being insulting. I love superintendents. I don't see any companies out there hiring from the industry and just making magic happen. Sure, you get lucky every now and then, but out on the whole, it's not working very well. The best that I'm seeing is you hire folks from the industry, then people internally start to train on systems, and then it starts to go well. But it's not just going to magically be like, hey, I'll hire someone, plug them in, they got it, we're good. It ain't going to happen. So stop looking for unicorns in the industry that you can hire and put on your job and ignore. What you need to start doing is hiring from trade schools, high schools, yes, I said it, colleges, and from the ranks of the craft on your project sites. And so that's literally what I would do. And in fact, that's what we do at Elevate, is every now and then we get a unicorn, right? But it hasn't happened. Like, the percentage of how often that happens isn't very good. Like, you hit a home run like 5% of the time. What's working at least 85% of the time for us in our company at Elevate and Lean Tact is that we find college graduates, great people, right? Or people from the trades. They have a growth mindset and they're hard workers. We'll just go ahead and hire them and train them to do it right from the start. It is a little bit of an investment, right? You have to spend like a year and a half, 3 years training them before they're in certain positions. But I personally think that it's worth it. So in 3 years, you and I can be having the conversation of, hey, I don't have the right people, and we spend a lot of money hiring and firing. Or in 3 years, we can have the conversation, hey, Jay Money, like, I started doing this, recruiting in the right places and training these folks, and now we have some pretty good folks supervising these projects. So yes, it takes a couple of years, but let's just think forward. What would your 3 year in the future self want to happen right now? So this is what I recommend. Number one, start observing people that you are around, that you are working with, and that are in the craft, right? Yes, you're going to hire from trade schools. Yes, you can go do some hiring from high schools. And I've seen it work. I'm just telling you. Yes, you should be recruiting from colleges, 100%. But also, if you're working around really great laborers, really great foremen, surveyors, other people in the industry that, heck, you can even look for people amongst the ranks of truck drivers or the logistics folks. I don't care where they are. The key piece is that they have a growth mindset and they're hardworking and they're willing to learn. So start paying attention to the people around you. Do they have that potential? Because I bet they do. Number two, once you spot them, gauge their interest. What you can do is say something like, hey, there's some really neat opportunities. Here's my number. If you're interested, call me, right? Or, hey, I'm going to be around the project site for another week or two. Why don't you think about this position or some of these opportunities I've talked to you about? Hey, why don't you get back to me if you're interested, right? So provide an invitation and let them make the first move that will show that they're interested. Number three, once they come back to you, explain the possibilities. Explain, hey, superintendents and project managers can make a whole lot of money, and these are really cool positions. You can grow as far as you want to. There are opportunities right here in this company. This is what it pays, right? Have that conversation about the opportunities once they come to you, and have that conversation. 4, give them an assignment. This is not some kind of sick test. This is not hazing, but this is serious. Like what I like to do when somebody expresses an interest in taking their career all the way is say, hey, there's a really cool book called Construction Surveying and Layout, 3rd edition, otherwise known as the Field Engineering Methods Manual. It covers field and office engineering tasks and responsibilities. And I asked them, hey, read chapters 1 through 8. If you're not the whole book, chapters 1 through 8, if they're interested and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, this sounds interesting, right? Then you know that there's at least a chance, right? Because in that book, chapters 1 through 8, there are chapters in there about construction, organization, the tools, the general responsibilities, how you need to show up. There's some math in there. There's some drafting in there. There's surveying techniques, right? Safety and quality techniques. They will get a perspective of, does this sound interesting or not? So ask them to read chapters 1 through 8 of the Field Engineering Methods Manual. Giving somebody an assignment is huge because it increases their likelihood to weigh in and buy in. Something that will increase your ownership in weighing in and buying into this content that we're sharing and using to learn from each other is to actually subscribe to this channel. Then you've got ownership. You're like, that's my channel. I love J Money. We have this cool relationship. So that'll create some ownership. There's an assignment that you can do right now. Number 5, if they've read the book or done whatever assignment you've given them and you're like, okay, I think that something could be here, right? If they're a laborer, find a way. Is there a possibility for them to, for a couple of months, help out in a field engineering role or a project engineering role or an assistant role on the project? If they're a foreman, hey, is there a time between assignments where they can come help you as an assistant superintendent? If they're a surveyor, is there times when they're not busy where they can come help you with certain tasks, right? Is there an in? Is there a way for them to come in and see the kind of work you do, get into operations in the mainstream positions of operations and start experimenting? Because then if they're like really crushing it, you're like, okay, all right, let's have a conversation. Can we go ahead and promote this person to a field engineer or to a project engineer? That conversation with leadership is going to go different between the scenario of, hey, I just found this random kid, can we hire him? In contrast to, hey, this person that I met has done research, explained interest. We've been using this person for 2 or 3 months, really doing well. I think we're ready, right? In this scenario, leadership would be like, yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get that person into this position with a higher percentage of success than if you're just picking some random person off the street. Number 6, if it goes through, get that person into a full-time field engineering opportunity. Spending 1.5 to 3 years as a field engineer will be great. I don't care what their experience is. You get that person into that role with the right opportunities, they're going to become builders, be able to work with builders, and it is going to catapult their career. Number 7, along their path, once they're a field engineer, send them to a company run, meaning you've done it, or to an Elevate field engineering bootcamp. This is amazing. Snap them out of any mediocre mindsets that they have. Ask them to really analyze, like, is this industry for me? Tell them and teach them how to figure things out. Connect them with the craft. Provide them with like a life-changing, remarkable experience. If they're a field engineer, you will want to send them to the field engineering bootcamp. And number 8, give them time, right? Nobody's in a rush. Nobody's in a rush, right? Spend 1.5, 2, 3, 4. I don't even care if it's 5 years as a field engineer. They will get the builder experience and the tools in their tool belt to be able to do any other builder task that you ask them for later on. And so take the time. And those 8 steps have worked for me every time that I've tried it. I've told you this story before about my buddy Ramon Lugo Cruz. He came to a project in Tucson. He was the hoist operator, barely spoke English. I saw something in him. He connected with me. I was like, hey, homie, if you take English courses for the next couple of months, because I think it's great and I love your experience so that you can understand the content that we're going through, I will get you the Field Engineering Methods Manual. In 2 months, he spoke good enough English. We connected, got him the book, read the chapters, got him into a position with the project team where he could start doing field engineering work. Then he started learning the equipment, then started doing lift drawings, then started running AutoCAD, then learned the robotic total station, and now he is the lead survey technician at a concrete company in Tucson, Arizona, making super good money, and he can go anywhere in construction. This pattern works everywhere. And then once they're done with this, all they have to do is learn about planning and scheduling, learn about lean systems, right? Learn about leadership and communication and the company systems, and you have the makings of a future superintendent or project manager. It is amazing. So please just know that this is a 1.5 to 3, 4, 5 year commitment, but it's so worth it. Yourself, you, in 3, 4, 5 years, would you rather be saying, we tried to hire, it didn't go so well, or hey, we started to put in the investment and now we have some great people? The choice is yours. And so if you want to get started with this, I'm going to link you to the Field Engineering Methods Manual in the link below. I hope you check it out. Why don't you buy a couple of them, have it there, start looking for folks. Whenever you see the book, you'll be like, hey, I need somebody to give this to. You'll start looking for opportunity, give them the book, ask them to read chapters 1 through 8, and I'm telling you, you will find someone you can train that will become your next construction leader. On we go.